everybody. Welcome to Sixers post-game live. What is happening? Sixers are 2-0 in the James Harden era. We're going to break down our top takeaways, our player of the game, and grade today's performance, man. 125 to 109, 133 points against the Minnesota Timberwolves. This Sixers offense is clicking. There are signs being imprinted on this Sixers team that, are legit playoff killers, and we're going to break it all down, man. So many positives to talk about. Before we get started, smash that subscribe button, hit the like button if you love James Harden and the Philadelphia. If you love triple-double James Harden and the Philadelphia 76ers. Joining me, I've got my man Justin. He is at J_Persichetti. What's good, man?
Hey, what's going on? What's popping? Oh, am I echoing?
No, you're good.
I'm not echoing. I thought I was. Guys, what's going on? What a game. Just what a life we're living right now. We get to watch James Harden and Joel Embiid play basketball together. Hopefully Tobias Harris figures it out soon, but we'll get into that.
Triple-double for James Harden from Chris. ABD says, is this real life? That's how this feels, man. Right before we went live, my man Sean goes, is this – I feel like I'm on cloud nine. And that is Sean _Bernard1, the host of the Pick Swift podcast. Check him out at Philly Sports Network. What's good, man?
Yeah, this feels awesome. This is it feels great to just sit back and watch this and this fun brand of basketball, just like a complete Sixers team that we have in front of us. And I mean, there's been a lot that has gone into it. So I want to sit back and enjoy this right now and feel good. But this is all a tease. I'm very excited for what's about to come.
Yeah, dude. Let me real quick pop up the box score because I think the Sixers offense is where you start here today. Mm-hmm. The Sixers offense is clicking. Hold on. There it is. Sixers offense is clicking, led by James Harden's triple-double, 29 points, 16 assists, 10 rebounds, and 5 steals, which he basically had in one half. He had one steal there to start the second half. 5 steals. And I think the biggest takeaway from this game, we saw some success there, game 1 against the Timberwolves in that pick and roll between James Harden and Joel Embiid. It looked so much better here in game 2. Those two were unbelievable. Joel Embiid finished with what? Joel Embiid had 37 points, 4 blocks, 9 rebounds, 3 assists. He's still struggling with the shot a little bit, but there is real playoff potential, guys. There are times when, even when Joel Embiid is not scoring the basketball or James Harden is not scoring the basketball, you dish to Tyrese Maxey in the corner. He gets a wide open floater, cutting to the basket, or Matisse Thybulle wide open cutting to the basket. There is finally reason to be hopeful here. The NBA championship window is open for the Sixers, man. Justin, what's your take on this Sixers offense right now?
It's ridiculous, and something I think we should point out with this box score is look at the James Harden, Tyrese Maxey box score when it comes to field goal attempts and field goals made. Like the fact that you added James Harden and Tyrese Maxey's productivity goes up just shows how good James Harden's could be for this offense, and also how much Tyrese Maxey can thrive in that shooting guard role. And I mean, I think a lot of people going into Tyrese Maxey's career weren't really sure where he was going to fit exactly yet. He wasn't a point guard before this year. He wasn't a dominant point guard before this year. And now you get to see him back at his actual position. And you see how much better he is when he gets to be off ball, getting past, being able to drive fast into the lane whenever he wants to, pretty much. And you got a guy in James Harden who's one of the best playmakers in the NBA history who's able to dish it to him. So it's a lot of fun. And the offense, in general, to your question, I think it can be even better. I was saying before we got on here, before I think even Sean came on, is that if they had a little bit better wing shooters, some upgrade at the wing shooting wise, this team would just be insane. It's be insane. It's unstoppable at that point.
Yeah, I tweeted that during the game. We're like a Furkan Korkmaz upgrade away from being an elite offense in this league. The Sixers big three, I'm not including Tobias Harris, fam. I'm sorry. Tyrese Maxey is now officially among the big three on the Sixers team. 80? You look at 60, 6, 87 points in this game, 89 points, I think, in game 1 against the Timberwolves. This big three is terrific, man. That pick and roll action is unbelievable. Even when, Tyrese Maxey's running the pick and roll, it is clicking on all cylinders. Sean, what was your take on this Sixers offense today? James Harden, Joel Embiid, you name it.
Yeah, the early growth in just chemistry between Embiid and Harden is super, super exciting to me. And I genuinely believe like these two as a duo can be something special in that. Like, I think even before this, if you ask who is like the number one guy that would complement Joel Embiid's game, I really do think it's James Harden. And I think we're seeing that the gravity in the pick and roll, the way when Harden's coming around, that the Embiid's able to just get lost and come underneath. We saw the dunk pass tonight, a couple of those. And then for Tyrese Maxey, just being given the freedom to just play his game, the passing responsibilities have been taken off his plate, allows him to just do his thing, and he's running with it. I'm so excited to see him step up to the moment, to be ready to be that guy. And I mean, I've never seen a guy just be just unwavered by the moment the way Maxey. That three at the end was absolutely ridiculous, that step back there. So I absolutely love what I'm seeing, and this is a legitimate trio, which I'm super thrilled to see.
Yeah, here's the Sixers' big three here. 15 of 21 inside the paint. They didn't shoot as well as they did in game 1 against the Timberwolves. That's kind of like the opposite against the Knicks here. When Joel Embiid was not in the game, the Sixers were giving up way too many easy points, especially at the rim here. But look at this. Look at this.
Off the drag screen, it's Harden. Pocket pass, Embiid, and 1, count it.
Let's run that back real quick. Let's run that back. I need to see that again.
All right, so Joel Embiid sets the screen. You've got James Harden, and James Harden probably had about like 4 or 5 of these during this game. I cannot wait to make this highlight reel, man. I'm so excited, especially passing the ball. But can we put the Joel Embiid can't roll to the basket shit to bed here? I mean, he absolutely has shown, just from these 2 games, just shown progress already, man. Joel Embiid, James Harden, man, you got to be so excited if you're a Sixers fan, man.
And crazy to me, the amount of people that like put weight behind it that he hasn't done. Like, for a guy who is as high a basketball IQ as Joel, for the skill set that he has, the finishing ability, there was no reason why this wasn't going to work. And we're already seeing just like progression in it. And you see him ready for it, the way he's reading it. And Harden is just, his vision and IQ and just the decisiveness is super refreshing for me. The way it's like, it feels like when he's in these situations, he has the defender just fully at his will, and he's just kind of reading it and waiting, and in a different way than we've really ever seen in this offense. So Embiid will no doubt adapt. We're already seeing it, and it's awesome. That's a whole new element that's being added.
Yeah. I think something that goes, and this is kind of, again, same thing with what Chris was saying about like, put it to bed. There's no reason to think that he can't do this.
Yeah.
It's Embiid, his whole career has learned things super quickly. His whole career, he's grown his game. Every year he's been healthy in the offseason. He's been able to excel at that. And he's been known to be one of the best in the league at growing his game quickly. I mean, everyone knows already, he didn't start playing basketball until he was 16. And he's this good. So I don't think it's going to take that long. I don't think it's going to take that long for him to find that rhythm with Harden, and for him to find that rhythm of rolling to the rim. And I think we've already seen it in the first 2 games. It's insane. I think Sean was saying this earlier. He was saying that Harden was one of the guys even before all the trade rumors and everything was coming along that you thought could fit well with Embiid. I actually wasn't in that. I was not in that group. I was like, okay, I'd rather, if I can get Bradley Beal, if I can get if Damian Lillard was available, obviously I'm like, okay, I'd like to get them. They're a little bit more perimeter centric and really good leaders. But man, oh man, I did not expect Harden and Embiid to fit this well this quickly. It's super impressive.
And then we get this gem, which will probably be one of my favorite plays of the season, hands down.
Harden downhill, great dime to Embiid.
Lots of conversations about Joel not being a role guy. He can be anything he wants to be. That's how gifted a basketball player he is.
Embiid was almost giddy a couple of nights ago during that game against Minnesota. Gets the drop on the trailer and says it with his...
Let's go, guys. Championship. Sixers are coming. NBA's on notice. Let's go. All right. All joking aside, like, Let's go to some quick comments, and then we're going to talk about free throws, which I think is the other big takeaway of this game, or last two games. Chris Moore says Embiid with a career high in free throw attempts and makes. Even before or at the end of Friday night's game, Embiid even said, like, this is the most open he has ever been here in a game. Jonathan says, so nice to see Embiid and Harden on the floor at all times. It is awesome, man. Seeing Mitri says, seeing Embiid roll the basket today almost made me cry. This duo is everything. Everything we're seeing here, man, is everything, that recipe for the playoffs, man. This is just really exciting. You look at ESPN, you look at TNT, and you got to know, like, they're like, fuck. Watching all this success.
When you watch them play, like, the Sixers have transitioned to like a postseason oriented style of play right now. Like, when we think about previous years, and some of this is correlated to Ben Simmons for sure, but it's just yeah, who cares anymore? But just in the way they ran, the fast break oriented the play, which we're still seeing an uptick in tempo in these past couple games with Harden being able to do it. But just the ability, the late in shot clock, the way options are always open, and it just feels built for the postseason, which is, to me, a super positive takeaway.
I'm so happy you said that, because the pace of the Sixers against the Timberwolves went up considerably, and that's something that I did not even think about with this James Harden addition. Like, we have seen Tyrese Maxey especially unlocked here in transition. The last game was at 14-4 against the Minnesota Timberwolves in fast break points. Today, it was 18-11 against the Knicks. The Sixers are suddenly went from like they're a slow team, but they're putting guys in positions to succeed. And we talked about this during our post game show last Friday, and I gave Doc my player of the game. Like, I was really impressed with Doc and his ability to kind of sit Tobias down and say, here's how it is. And we're going to get to that because there's a lot to talk about Tobias here. Yeah, Justin.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people didn't like it, and I agree with you. I'm starting to think James Harden might be better than Ben Simmons. You know what, Rob? Me too. Me too. I agree. Starting to think it. No, but awesome. You're making me lose my train of thought. Come on, Rob. No, so I think a lot of people, when they saw the acquisition of James Harden coming in, they're like, okay, yeah, half court scoring, 3-point shots. That's what a lot of people saw. Not a lot of people. Yeah, the number of assists that James Harden has is large, and so people are like, okay, cool, assists. Maybe some more 3-point shots. What they didn't understand is kind of what you guys were referring to, is the transition. There's just how much is going to open up the game for everybody. We had Tyrese Maxey running the point this whole season. Like I said before, Tyrese Maxey isn't really a legitimate point guard in all respects. You have James Harden, who literally ran point guard on one of the most efficient, like, high power offenses with the Rockets over in Houston before, and look at the Nets as well. So it's a big difference. So the fact that you're seeing this kind of uptick in, like we said, transition, and also just the amount of buckets the amount of open shots is ridiculous. We haven't seen this amount of open shots in a long time. So it's crazy.
Yeah. All right. Let's go right on to free throws. You look at Minnesota Timberwolves game. They were 30 of 36 from the free throw line in today's game. Otherwise, they were 39 of 44 from the free throw line. Countless guys getting fouled out. Like, we're going to be the most hated team in the NBA in a very short amount of time. No one's going to want to play us. Everyone's going to hate watching us. I don't give a fuck. This is fun. What about you, Sean? I'll throw it to you, man. Is this like the new norm for the Sixers? Yeah,
it absolutely is. I mean, the Sixers were first in percent of points from the free throw line prior to the Harden trade, and then to add James Harden, who is one of the all-time masters of getting to the line, and there's specifically rules made for the things that he's done. So it's only going up from here. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with it at the end of the day. And I wrote an article how it's kind of one of the rare, like, points of meeting between, like, analytical and basketball. It's just how important the free throw line is. Because when you just dive in, like, those are 2 chances at free points. And, like, if the Sixers want to capitalize from that area, that speaks to the Morey ball. That speaks to the thought process behind it. And it makes sense. Both these guys are very elite at what they do in terms of getting to the line and capitalizing on it. So it may be annoying. It is going to piss some people off, but at the end of the day, if it wins games, it wins games.
Doesn't piss me off. Doesn't piss me off one bit. Doesn't piss me off one bit.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. And kudos to Jericho Sims, man. He was.
He played
man,
well.
He fought, man. I was really impressed with his game today. He had 10 boards in 18 minutes. He had 6 personal fouls. Joel Embiid got his ass off the court pretty fast, but he gave Joel Embiid fits, and I give him a lot of props.
So, speaking of Jericho Sims real quick, I got to see him play a good amount of times down with the G League when he was with the Westchester Knicks. And, dude, that guy, you saw that. You saw the capabilities of it with him down in the G League. It's just like what Charles Bassey is doing in the G League as well. All over the boards, athletic as hell, strong body. And so it should not surprise anybody. If you're watching the G League, watch out, because some of these like centers down there are legit.
Yeah, and the game I went to down there was actually Jericho Sims played Justin, where I saw you at, and you could tell like he has the NBA body, like he's built, and very, very impressive effort on what he did against Embiid tonight. There were a couple, the one steal he had there, he just battled in a way that, like, unfortunate him for fouling out, but not an effort that he should be disappointed in at all.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, let's talk about Tyrese Maxey. Hold on, let me get the shot chart up. But Tyrese Maxey today, another very solid game, 14 shot attempts, just efficient, 8 of 14. He was a plus 23, which was second best on the Sixers, 21 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals. That's what's so fun about this was we talked about before the All-Star break went down, like, will Doc be able to sit Tobias down and be like, it is Tyrese Maxey's time. It's his time to step up. The ball should be in his hands. What I did not expect was how much that pick and roll in James Harden edition would leave Tyrese Maxey wide open, going to the rim, cutting to the basket, and getting easy buckets in transition. Justin, what's your take on Tyrese Maxey's performance today? And I'll get the shot chart.
Yeah, Tyrese Maxey is just today. I'll say about today. Just the fact that he's starting to have that gravity. You're starting to see teams, he has that shooting gravity now, which last season he definitely didn't have. People were leaving him open pretty consistently. And so the fact that teams are seeing him as a threat behind the line and he's able to blow by people, he's able to create for others in that way, it's super impressive. And man, the floater, it's just everything about it. Even the defense, his hands are always active. He's always running around in the passing lanes. It's super impressive, and I think he has already, exceeded the expectations of Sixers fans since he was drafted, and it's definitely good to see.
Yeah, here's Tyrese Maxey's shot chart. Just was a monster, 5 of 6 inside the paint. Didn't do much mid range, but got it done from beyond the arc. Sean, what's your take on Tyrese Maxey today and overall with this James Harden edition?
Yeah, I mean, just such a joy to watch and so cool to see him succeeding at this level. I think in the long term, like the long-term plans are to hand Maxey the keys to this organization. I really do believe that's the way it's developing. But in the short term, he's already ready to be the third star on this team. And it's so cool to see him elevating his game next to Harden and Embiid. And it just like the way he just seems to be getting out in transition and running now is just game-changing. And the Sixers, like, change of pace in the offense, in transition, and he's awesome at it. The way he finishes, how smooth he is around the rim, the way his pace opens up everything, and the shot is legit. Like I brought up the 3-point already, but that's a big time shot to just have the guts to take that step back 3 and then the skill to knock it down. That speaks volumes to just who this kid is as far as being made for the moment, and he's a great fit next to Harden and Embiid as well. It's all coming together.
Real quick about Maxey again, I think something that is so underrated is the fact that during technical free throws, the Sixers have Tyrese Maxey take free throw shots. Mm-hmm. I think that cannot go like unnoticed. The fact that they trust a second-year player and the fact that he is unwavered in those kinds of moments is huge. Not only for now, but for the future of the organization, like you guys are saying. If he's going to be that guy that eventually gets the keys once Embiid or Harden are, can no longer play at the level that they are today, he's going to be a guy who's legit going to be having that ball at the end of games.
100%. Rob says Maxey could be a borderline all-star next year. I fully agree with that.
Yeah.
You look at, Daryl Morey even called him out, saying that he sees him as an all-star when this trade went down. Sooner than later. So let's go on to, I think, the big talking point right now with the Philadelphia 76ers, and that is Tobias Harris and his newfound role here moving forward, which is mostly catch and shoots. In game 1, he was 2 of 9. He was a plus 24, 2 of 6 from 3. In game 2 against the New York today, 3 of 9. He had 12 points, a couple fourth quarter buckets there, plus 25. But he had a huge corner 3 here. It was kind of funny. Like, I even made a tweet about it. Like, he played like dog shit this entire game, and he still hit the big 3 here to push the Sixers lead to 8 when it was close. This game was close with less than 3 minutes left. Let's talk about Tobias Harris's role moving forward, because a lot of people are still stuck on that contract. It is what it is at this point. Yeah. I thought he had a pretty decent game against the Timberwolves. The shots aren't falling. I'll throw it to you, Justin. Like, what's your take on Tobias Harris right now?
Yeah, I think it's going to be all right. I think Sixers fans, and I think Tobias knows this. I think the team knows this in general. He's a guy that his role, because of the kind of player he is, has had to constantly change with the shift of how they're running this offense. When you have a guy like Ben Simmons, his role was what his role was then. When you have Ben Simmons out of the lineup and you have Tyrese Maxey at the point, his role completely changed. Well, now that you have a guy like James Harden at the point who's able to run a very efficient pick and roll with Joel Embiid, your role is going to shift again. And I think eventually it's going to happen where they're going to figure it out. And I think it's going to be a lot of what it looked like probably in 2018 when Tobias first got with the team. A lot of catch and shoot threes, a lot of being that role player rather than what he has been for the past 2 years, where he's had a bit more of a mid-range guy type role, banging in the paint a little bit more. So I think it's going to be fine. I just think it's going to take a little bit more time than it has taken for James Harden and Embiid to figure it out.
This is a guy who has routinely showed that he struggles with any kind of change in offense. Like a single piece like Danny Green gets off, he is a rhythm player on offense. And it doesn't shock me at all to see him. It's going to take time for this guy to figure it out. What about you, Sean? What's your take on Toby?
Yeah, I mean, I think the best utilization in the offense with Toby is him taking a little bit of a backseat, and that's okay if the stats are not up there. Like we're seeing the points develop from Harden, Embiid, and Maxey, and Toby to turn into a guy that's more in kind of the PJ Tucker, Jay Crowder kind of role, where he's sitting in the corner shooting threes. That's perfectly okay with me, and if we can transition to that, I think that makes everything better. I do think the isolations called for Toby need to completely be cut out of the offense. Like there's just better ways for the Sixers to score than that and what they have right now. And at a time, at a lesser time in Sixers history, like that was the best we got. It's not anymore. So there's no need for that to be in there at all. But I will say I'm not heavy up in arms yet either. It is going to settle out and be all right. The more decisive he plays, the better. There was the play against the Timberwolves where it was like the Harden 3/4 court pass where he just caught right in motion. That's the Tobias Harris I want to see. If it's just the quick, it's the same thing. Quick decisions, quick trigger, shoot threes. And if he can get the 3-point attempts up, I'm all in on him sticking around. But it's got to happen.
I think this is. Oh, my bad. Sorry about that, Chris. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. All
right. I think this is a really key point here. Harris being the teammate that he is, and also just being the leader that he is in an organization. He's not a guy. He's not Ben Simmons. He's not a guy who's gonna be like, oh, I have to be the second option. I have to be the third option. Like he's going to be okay with being that third or fourth option on a team. And I think that's going to be the key thing, genuinely, because there's a lot of guys who make that kind of money or have had the kind of career that he has had that would have a problem with having to sit back and take a back seat when new players come into the system. And I don't think you're going to have that issue with Harris. I think he's going to figure it out.
Yeah, I agree. And I think people are getting too overboard on this Tobias Harris idea when it's actually to the betterment of the Sixers offense for him not to be dribbling the ball with 0 seconds remaining and jacking up a shot here on offense. Like, we're looking at how many points have we averaged the last 2 games, like 130 plus. This is not the time to be complaining about Tobias Harris. At least the ball is not stopping when it's in his hands. We'll be fine.
That is so funny to think about, actually, now that I'm just processing that. When is the last, how many games has it been since when Tobias Harris scores like six something points, and the Sixers still win and score 130 points.
That's true.
Just genuinely think about that. It's crazy.
Yeah, and he has shot 40+% from three over the last 2 months. So we'll see what we've got with Tobias Harris moving forward. There's obviously, I think everyone agrees here he's not a good fit with this team. We're definitely going to be looking to move forward this offseason. It is what it is. He's overpaid. I don't blame him at all for that whatsoever. But let's go into player of the game here. I'll tell you who's not player of the game. This guy.
Three again, this one off the mark. Millsap, who scored a bucket a moment ago with the rebound. Korkmaz with a deep pull. About 2 feet short.
Oh, my goodness. Sean, the floor is yours. Who's your player of the game?
Yeah, rough Furkan game. I feel lame doing it, but I can't not give it to James Harden. I think I had a pretty high bar for expectations for him starting off, and he's more than hit it. And there's going to be games where I think he legitimately tosses out more than 20 assists this season. Like, just the way he sees the floor, finds guys. And this is one of the things that I was saying when the trade first happened. Like, there's assists to be had in the Sixers offense. There just wasn't a guy that really could get it. And now that there is James Harden slinging it around, like, I'm so excited by it. So he's absolutely just changed the way this offense has looked so quickly, and props to him for that.
Just to even upgrade Sean's point even more, think about this. The Sixers shot 30% from three tonight. 30% from three. Or today, I should say. So imagine if they just hit a few more shots. He might already been 20 today. How many assists did he have today?
Amazing.
16. That's nothing. Four more 3-point shots. They went... Let's see. What did they go for from three? They were 30% from three. They shot 33 threes and made 10 of them. If they made 4 more, which is not crazy. 14 threes is not crazy.
Yeah. I like this comment by Rob. Like, I can't wait to make this James Harden highlight reel right after we're done here. Like, James Harden had some passes tonight, even when the shots didn't fall, that were jaw dropping. And we've seen it against Minnesota. Like, this guy is unbelievable. Like, it's like watching basketball for the first time. Like, I am so my love for the Sixers is rekindled. I'm just ready to run through a brick wall, man. Justin, who is your player of the game?
Yeah, I'm going to give a shout. There's obviously 3 guys that are legitimate choices for this award, but I'm going to give a shout out to a guy who's probably not going to be talked about, and that's Matisse Thybulle, just because we haven't talked about him. I think, honestly, he is finding value. He's finding value for himself with James Harden playing, and he's kind of giving himself that Bryce. What? Jesus. He's given himself that Bruce Brown role. If people didn't watch the Nets too often James Harden ran a lot of pick and roll with Bruce Brown, and Matisse has definitely given himself that role, or maybe the organization's telling him to do this, where it's more leaking towards the rim a little bit more, a lot more cuts. You notice it. He's a lot more active on the offensive end in that way. And I think a lot of people thought his more activeness was going to be taking more shots and being around the perimeter more, but it's looked to be the opposite. And I think he's been productive in that way. So I'm not upset about it. 8 points, 6 rebounds, 4 of 6 from the field, on top of having the 3 steals that you can't complain about at all. So I could just appreciate the type of role he's been playing at this point, and I hope to see him grow even more.
Yeah, awesome. I couldn't agree more. Chilla says Matisse is going to be our GP2. Does anybody know what that means? I'm not really sure.
I have no idea what that is.
Gary Payton. I love it. Yeah.
I was like, dang.
I had a mind blank there. Thybulle continues to find ways to add value. I mean, you could easily go with the big 3. They're just terrific. We already talked about them. However, I'm going to go with the guy that I've been dogging this entire season, and I'm going to keep rolling with him, and that is Doc Rivers, man. To the betterment of this team, you look at this box score, you look at Joel Embiid, 18 shot attempts, James Harden, 14 attempts. He only had 3 attempts in the third quarter. I want my James Harden to be a little more selfish. I'm okay with it. I'm not complaining. Tyrese Maxey had 14 shot attempts in this game, pretty much echoing everything we saw against the Minnesota Timberwolves for me. And I just give Doc props for recognizing, kind of the issue that, that was kind of our main take. We said this again and again on these post-game shows. Like, it's the way the Sixers play that was just not working, especially offensively. Tobias Harris, usage rate in game 1 against Minnesota, 13.3%. Tyrese Maxey, 2 days ago, 24.5. I think that is exactly where the pattern is going to start showing moving forward. And for that, for many reasons, Sixers fans have to be really excited. The ball is going to go through Tyrese Maxey. We saw it again today, even when Tobias was on the court. Maxey running that pick and roll, baby. Just chef's kiss. It is a thing of beauty, man. Let's grade this performance. Sean, you're up, man. How would you grade today's performance?
Yeah, I give this. I think I'll go an A- today. There's still a couple things to nitpick, couple sloppy moments, but for the most part, like, the game was pretty close, and the Sixers felt like they were in control the entire game. So I think that's a win right there. I think that's a vote of confidence in the way to have the game slipping. The Knicks had their little runs, and there was still just like the confidence that the Sixers were going to come out. We see the elements, we see the potential. A-.
Also, like, real quick, sorry, Justin, wait 1 second.
You're good.
Like, the Sixers outscored the Knicks by 14 in the fourth quarter. They locked it down when it mattered. This was a Sixers team that has struggled notoriously throughout this season during clutch moments. Tobias, sorry. But that's a great sign. That is another great sign that you see that offense. I would not be shocked if the Sixers are not top 5 in offensive efficiency by the season's end, man. That's my vibe right now. Everything seems to be working. What about you, Justin? How would you grade today's performance?
Yeah, I think I would grade today probably between that A- A range, probably like they're hanging in between there. The game all around was good. Like Sean said, it never seemed, even at the point in, I believe it was the beginning of the fourth or the end of the third, when they were down by like at least 1 or 2 points. I never thought that the game was out of their control. Something else that I like is that prior, when a team would go on a big run, the Sixers seemed to falter and really put themselves in a hole. And you love to see the fact that if James Harden or Joel Embiid are on the court, they're not both exhausted at that point. They're both able to collect the team, be like, okay, let's slow the ball down a little bit and let's get a bucket. And I think you've seen that today's game, and you saw it last game against Minnesota as well. So I think that is an amazing sign, and it's something you're going to see a lot in the postseason. And the fact that you now have 2 guys who can stop a run and really get your team back under control is going to be huge.
Solid A here, and then another B+. I'm an A+. For the very much reason this pick and roll, what we're seeing, how promising that is between Joel and James. My 2 favorite plays over the last 2 days didn't even include those 2 guys, but it was a James and Joel pick and roll. It was Minnesota when no, it wasn't a pick and roll, but James Harden, like, whipped it. Like, his gravity on offense is just so impressive to see. Like, there are routinely guys, like 3 Knicks players just swarming him in the paint. Going back to Minnesota, like, he whipped a pass to Tyrese Maxey, 2 dribbles at the rim. That's how amazing that is. We saw that here today when it was a James Harden and Joel Embiid pick and roll, and he found Tyrese Maxey in the corner, floater, done. Like, there is so much real potential that we're watching right now that I think will absolutely carry over in the playoffs. There's only, a couple months left of the season, not much time, but there's definitely, for the first time, the pieces of the puzzle are on the table, especially for next year. If you get a couple more, more athletic perimeter players, a big man, a stretch four, you name it, we'll get there. But there's a lot of reasons to be optimistic for sure. So I'm an A+, man. This is some fun basketball, man. I love watching these teams get so far. I love fouling out every big man on the opponent, man. I love it. I absolutely love it. And again, props to Jericho Sims, who had a terrific game here. And this is the other question that I think we have to talk about. Go ahead, Justin.
Yeah, and I don't want to. I know we want to get out. We want to get out of here, but I think this is something you were talking about next year and having athletic shooters and stuff like that on the outside. I think you have yourself as maybe not athletic, but a shooter who is deserving of a chance in this offense. And I think there is a chance that soon, if Korkmaz keeps airballing those threes, that Doc may have to throw him in there and give him a shot. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Obviously, Furkan has the years he's been here. He's shown really he's shown glimpses of being a really good role player, but more often than not, especially this year, he's shown some shortcomings. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I think Isaiah Joe, if I'm him, I'm a little upset on that. A little upset on that bench.
What about you, Sean? Like, would you play Isaiah Joe over Furkan right now?
Yeah, I mean, I would have done it a while ago. So I mean, it's one of those, like the Doc Rivers drum that you kind of know what you're getting, and you can hope for the opposite. But at the same time, I don't expect a change to happen, unfortunately, and I wish that I was more optimistic about it. But Doc Rivers, you know, he calls it how he feels it.
Doc Rivers is gonna Doc Rivers.
Yeah, exactly.
It is what it is. All right, let's wrap this show up. Sean, where can we find you? What do you got over there at the Pick Swap Podcast, Philly Sports Network?
Yeah, check me out on Twitter at Sean_Bernard1. You can check out the podcast at Pick Swap Pod. Subscribe on YouTube at Pick Swap Pod there too, and then check out my written work on PhillySportsNetwork.com. I'll have a takeaways piece coming out on this game relatively shortly, so you can check that out as well.
Guys, if you're not following this guy on Twitter at Sean_Bernard1, you're doing it wrong. Go shoot him a follow. You're doing it wrong if you're not following him, man. I promise you. Justin, go ahead, bro.
100%. Yeah, go follow me on Twitter at J_Persichetti. It's on your screen right there. Go check it out. I mean, lots of Blue Coat stuff, lots of Sixers stuff, and whatever else I want to post up there, but mostly basketball stuff. So go check it out if you like basketball. And if you're here, you like basketball. So go check it out. Also, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel.
Absolutely. I think the Sixers next play on Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
I'm out, guys. I'm sorry. I've got major priorities that night. I got an early screening to the Batman on Tuesday night, so I am so excited. I cannot wait for Tuesday, man. I can't believe we're finally here.
Wednesday, actually, not till Wednesday.
You're seeing it Wednesday?
Yeah, Wednesday at the Knicks again, or home versus the Knicks this time. So
that's great news.
What game is?
Wait! I thought they were playing. So they're not playing till Wednesday?
Yeah, that's what.
Let's go!
Yep, Wednesday 7:30.
Yeah.
Wednesday 7:30.
That
At Wells Fargo, baby.
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
First home game.
Awesome.
All right.
That's going to be rocking, man.
Yeah, big time.
How about, all right, I got to give props to the Sixers fans that were in the stadium today.
Yeah.
From the jump, man, like literally first quarter, Joel Embiid, first free throw on the line. You hear the MVP chants echoing through Madison Square Garden. That was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, big time. Right off the rip was awesome, and I just love how Sixers fans always travel. So great to see.
Oh man, what a game to be at, man! I'm jealous. I'm really. I've never seen Madison Square Garden. That's like literally number one on my bucket list.
Just text Mike Small. Mike Small was there.
I know he was there, my man. All right, guys. My running back rankings for the NFL draft are put on hold. The Elden Ring came out. I don't know if any gamers are out there, but that is a fucking awesome game. If you haven't heard of it, it's so fun. I've been playing that during my time this weekend. But I'll have my top 10 running backs dropping probably tomorrow or the day after, now that I have another day off with no Sixers on Tuesday. But follow my guy, Justin, over there at J_Persichetti. He is Sean at Sean_Bernard1 of the Pick Swap Podcast on YouTube. Go check them out. And Philly Sports Network.
Follow him.
Who drops content all the time. Don't follow me. I'm an old fart. I'm boring. Thank you everyone for watching. Please be sure to like this video. Help us out. We'll see you again on Wednesday night. For Justin, for myself, for Sean, go Sixers. Stay awesome, everybody.